Here I am. It's 5:45 as promised. I don't normally do anything on a Sunday, so you have to bear with me. Uno momento, por favor. That was terrible pronunciation, wasn't it, for any of you bilingual Bootneck watchers? I assure you that was bang on Spanish for a Bootneck. If I banged that sentence out while I was on, a ship when we were on exercise off to Cadiz or somewhere, I guarantee they would make me lead translator for the entire operation. Comments get deleted. Oh, they also get deleted. Yeah, this is bonus Bootneck. I don't normally do this. I've had to put my seat up higher as well because the sun's in my eyes. Like it's sort of annoying me. I don't normally do an early afternoon. John, how you doing? I haven't seen John's story for a while. Everybody say hello to him. First things first. I bought skimmed milk because it was on the scab rack, and being a man from Middlesbrough, well, and a Bootneck, I suppose both are inherently tight bastards, but I got skimmed milk because it was on the scab rack in the supermarket, and it was like 19 pence, and skimmed milk makes the worst tea imaginable. It's just cow piss, isn't it, skim milk? Cow piss with a bit of white colouring in it. Ugh. Don't you think that's a very apt tea mug as well, though? That's grumpy. I got it from my dad because he's a miserable bastard. And when I moved over here, I needed to fill my kitchen up. So I just grabbed loads of shit from his house. And I got his grumpy mug. But now I'm the angry Bootneck, it sort of seems apt to have a grumpy mug, doesn't it? Maybe if I change my name when they ban me and I come back as, I rebrand cunningly and come back as the jovial LGBT Bootneck, then I can change my mug. I'll just have something, penis shaped. But there you go. Storms or still, how's the blood pressure? It's not too bad. I will tell you, I've been talking to my mate Rai about this, saying, because he likes to go running when he's had some Maui Wowie. And I said to him today, are you sure that smoking bifters is good for you before you go for a run? And he insists it's not that bad for you. I know a few blokes who told me in the car, PTIs and medical type, surgeons and officers that were well educated in these things. And they said going for running when you've been drinking is the worst thing ever because it spikes your blood pressure and it will kill you as you get older. Obviously, you can do it. It was a Bootneck tradition to get shit-faced on a Thursday night and then on Friday morning run a 10-miler up a big hill. But as you age, you obviously have to pack that in. And now I've been assured that it will kill you. So I don't drink. I don't drink before I do phys. 24 hours off if I ever have a drinking binge now before I do some exercise. Anyway, I'll just keep rambling, don't I, and going off on a tangent. I forget what I was going to talk about there. Oh yeah, but I was going to say I have some evidence to back this hypothesis up, right? Because in the United States, there are that many fat knackers, who drive around on them little scooters, with a flag on. Because you can't get your tits through the normal door of Walmart, so you have to go in the service entrance and drive a vehicle around. There's that many fat knackers in the States. They actually have blood pressure machines set up in the shops. So if you just go to like Walmart, like Tesco, you go into Tesco and there's like a blood pressure machine next to the fucking Ben and Jerry's, which isn't a terrible idea. So yeah, at one time, me and my missus booked 4 days in Vegas, which is when we were living in LA. And I've been training loads and I hadn't had a drink for about 3 weeks. So I strapped myself into the blood pressure machine on like the Thursday before we went. And my BP was like 120 over 80 or something. It was like spot on. It was like, I think it was like 119 over like 76 or something. And I was like, yeah, fit. And then we went to LA, went to Vegas, got absolutely leathered. It was a leather fest of epic proportions for 4 days. And then I came back Tuesday or Monday evening, whatever it was. And I went, right, let's go do my blood pressure. And I went in and did it. And I swear down, I think it was nearly in 8 figures. It was like 160 over 110 or something. And I was like, fuck, I've never had a 6-figure blood pressure before. So the moral of the story, ladies and gentlemen, I know you don't come to the Angry Bootneck for healthcare advice, but if you get shit-faced, don't go running, because I will feel terrible if any of you guys try and ape my physical prowess and your heart explodes. You know, if you blow a gasket while out running, I told you so. Pissing up and running up hills, very bad idea. Right, I'll do some comments and then I'm going to get through this because everyone's done a stream about Prince Philip. And being a bootneck, right, you become very philosophical about death. Some of the best men I knew, dozens of them, because I was in for a while. I went on 5 ops. I know dozens of lads who never made it back. You become very philosophical about it and you think, you know what? At least when you get past the age of about 45, you've had a life. You know, and as I age, I can fucking get behind that idea. You know, because it's all shite after 40. Definitely downhill after 40. Whoever said life begins at 40, lying bastard. The crack is 18 to 30 is mint. Boozing, shagging, gambling, you don't worry about anything. You see things that look dangerous and you go, fuck it, I'm going to fling myself off of that. Bungee jumps, you know, all that shit you do when you're a kid. You go, whoa, that looks very high and very scary. Fuck it, I'll fling myself off it. Oh, look, I'm in a serviceable aircraft. I'll hoy myself out the back of it. You do that when you're young and you don't even think about it. And I think I've told the story about when I went out with my mate Ryan walking in Manchester and we found a Tarsy. You know, it was about 5 or 6 years ago. And we were walking through the woods and I fucking seen a Tarsy and it was like, you know, hanging off a tree, a tyre, over quite a big drop. And I don't know whether it's because I'm part chimp, you know, the monkey in me went, ooh, tyre, ooh, ran over to jump on the tyre, you know, it's just in me. And then I gets to it and look at the precipice that it's hanging over. And I was like, holy shit, that's like a 40-foot drop. Like, it wouldn't kill you. It was like a steep hill. It wouldn't kill you. But if you come off at the apex, you'd probably break your legs. The first thing I thought when I looked at it was, I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it. And he was like, what's the matter? And I walked back over, you know, he's there with the dog. And I was like, I'm not doing it. I bottled it. And he was like, why? And I said, because it'll fucking snap my back if I fling myself off that. If that rope snaps, you know, you do a risk assessment when you get past 35, you become soft as shite. And I do miss that. Tess, I have to say, Tess, I do think, again, I'm an old-fashioned bloke. I sometimes come across as slightly sexist, even though I'm definitely not, because as you know, Thatcher's my big one. I think women should be in charge of a lot of shit. I just argue about points where people are being emotional and denying reality. It's my personality type. I'm not a bad bloke. I'm not a sexist bloke. But I am a thinker and a rational person, and I don't like arguments by emotion. So when someone says women are just as strong as men or women are just as good at rugby, I want to just grab them and say, are you a fucking lunatic? You're living in a fantasy land. You might want women to be as good at rugby as men, but they aren't. So why are we arguing about it? Anyway, went off on a tangent again. Point I was going to say, Tess, I feel as if because women are less all about physicality than men, I feel like men struggle with aging a lot more. My dad's the same, my brother's the same. Like, you remember how strong and fast and robust you were when you were 23. And when you get into your 30s and your 40s, it depresses you. And without sounding sexist, when I'm taking the piss out my missus, I've said to her like, you know, there are some uses to being physically pathetic. You know, makes you work your brain, taking the piss. I'm not going to do that now with you. All right, so pretend you didn't need the last 30 seconds. But women, you know, I feel as if they age better than men in that respect, because when you're a 23-year-old woman, you're still not as physically imposing as a man. So you get used to using your feminine wiles. Women are much better multitaskers. There's loads of things women are better than men at, like I keep saying. There are, because we're different, because of biology, because of evolution. So I'm not being sexist. Women are better than men at things. Men are better than women at things. But the one thing men are better than women at is physical things. So I feel as if aging's a lot harder for a bloke, you know. Once I was right up there. I was like one of the fittest people anyone in my town would ever meet. And now I'm fucking not. And it's depressing, you know. When you've got to start relying on your brain. I don't like relying on my brain. I like relying on my biceps. It's a bit shit. So yeah, there is that. But Tess, I am... Yeah, cheers to you. I'm not saying you should be depressed after 40. You just have to think differently, don't you? And maybe it's the bootneck in me that has dealt with danger and stuff. But I do feel as if it's harder in that respect as a man to grow old. The sort of risk aversion that you have as you age, that you don't even think about when you're a young lad, flinging yourself off stuff, getting mortaled, sleeping in wheelie bins, generally living a fucking ridiculous, rastabout sort of life. You can't do that as you're older, and it's a bit fucking annoying. Yes, Kate, I am, and there's nothing wrong with being male, nothing wrong with being female. The denial of reality and our biological evolutionary differences is what really angers me. Not the fact that women are better than me at plenty of things, especially balancing a fucking checkbook or doing 3 things at once. We're all different. Yes, women can cook the dinner and they can also cook and take a phone call and give you a hand job at the same time. My missus has got that technique fucking down. She can proper pull me off while doing 2 things at once. It's amazing to see. If she proper goes to town, my pubes start smouldering. It is a fantastic talent she's got. So hats off to her. Here's to the ladies. Actually, this segues perfectly, Liam, to talking about Prince Philip, because if there's one thing Prince Philip was good at, it was a politically incorrect comment. So what I'm going to do is, this is the lion's share of what we're going to be doing today for this AB Bootneck, this bonus Bootneck on a Sunday evening. I found this marvellous little tweet from Tailed Feature. Obviously, a sensible, rational, reasonable Scotsman, not one of those filthy communist separatist arseholes. You know me, like I keep saying, I'm not a collectivist. I'm not slagging off the Scots. Loads of them are sound. And clout your partner at the same time, yeah. So, Tailed Feature put a bit of effort in and was good enough to put all of Prince Philip's based quotes in one little thread. And I'm going to read them. I'm not reading them just to remember him by, because like I said, I don't want to do a maudlin, weepy, sentimental, it's so sad Prince Philip's gone. I'm a bootneck, and he was the Captain General of the Royal Marines, and we like to approach life with a sense of humour and adversity. When a young man dies, it's a tragedy. The guys I've served with who lost their lives in their early 20s, it's a tragedy. To get to 99, you have to go, you know what? He had a fucking good innings. There is no reason to be sad about Prince Philip finally kicking a very, very, very old bucket. He lived a life, and as Just the Legend says, right, it doesn't matter how long you live, it matters how you live. And he lived well and long. You can't say fairer than that. So hats off to Prince Philip. We're not going to get all emotional and weepy about it. We're going to read some of his best quotes and remember him in a good, humorous manner. Like, I think Prince Philip would piss himself laughing. If there is an afterlife and he's looking down, he'll probably notice me and say, that's the crack. I want people reading my based as fuck comments, not moping around the house being sad. So I'm going to read some of his hoofing quotes. And the second thing I want to make the point of reading, why I'm reading them all, is because... do you remember when I told you guys that it annoyed me when Boris got called a racist? When all Boris did was made some observational humour. And I've made the point many times. If a woman wears a green hat that's a little bit pointy and she's got a green puffer jacket on and I say, that woman looks like a fucking Christmas tree. I'm not being a misogynist because she happens to be a woman. I'm not being racist if she happens to have a tan. I'm not being fattist if she happens to be a fat knacker. I'm not being anything, heightist if she happens to be a dwarf. All I'm doing is doing some observational humour. And when Boris made his fucking letterbox comments, anybody with a fully functioning brain should know that saying they look like a letterbox, which I've heard little kids have made that remark. A 5-year-old would go, see a one in a full-on kung fu outfit with just a little slot in, stood next to a post box. So a kid might say, that woman looks a bit like that post box, mummy. It's observational humour. It's not derogatory about a class, a race, a creed, a religion. It's not. It's observational humour. We might know that those garments are mandated by very, very devout practitioners of everybody's favourite fucking fairy tale, but it isn't in any way prejudiced. And the point I'm going to make before I start reading these 25 based as fuck comments is only one of them, in my opinion, crosses the line that you could possibly rightly say is prejudiced. Bonus points who gets that one. One of them, I would say, crosses a line. Because you guys know me, ultimately I'm a centrist, reasonable fellow. If he says something fucking racist, I'll tell you. If he come right out with something horrendously racist, I'll be like, yeah, you can't come out with that. But only one of them seems pretty bad. So we'll start on them, have a laugh, and remember the old fucker in a good-humoured, jovial, stoic way, like real British patriots, right? Let's get going. First of all, number one, British women can't cook, he told the Scottish Women's Institute in 1961. Now, I also love the way as well they put the little comments in afterwards. Lovely. Like, so, whoever's wrote this list, compiled the list, has thought, this'll show him, this'll make Prince Philip look like an arsehole. And what they don't realise, again, because the upper middle classes, these bourgeois Guardian reading socialist twats, don't realise they're so out of touch that politically incorrect sort of slash humorous slash bants like that makes normal working class people laugh. When you're sitting around the dinner table with your wife and you've got your fucking kids there, and, you know, and your grandparents are over, and you make some quip about your nana's cooking. Like, do you remember that flapjack she made that she could have caved my fucking head in with? Everyone laughs and goes, haha, that was funny. And then your mum's like, hey, you cheeky little shit, or whatever. It's like normal bants that normal people make. Tess doesn't have to be true, of course. Nobody thinks it's true. That's why it's funny. What is there, 33 million British women? Nobody thinks that British women can't cook. Nigella Lawson can fucking cook. Nigella Lawson, and my dad always told me to marry a woman who can cook. Nigella Lawson could have a fucking head like a clumsy beekeeper, and I would still be trying to shaft her. She's both attractive and a fantastic cook. So I'm not stereotyping anyone. Like I said, it's just bants. It's just bants. And it certainly isn't racist, bigoted or prejudiced. All right, so yeah. And now everybody knows I fancy Nigella Lawson. I'll read a bit of comments. Hang on, I need a cup of tea. Matt, come on, you'll be asking for differences of opinion next. Definitely not, I'm not doing that. Prince Philip was German and Eastern European. No, he was a Greek, wasn't he? I thought Prince Philip was like mostly Greek. Hence the term in the core. Everyone just called him Phil the Greek. Alan, hello mate. Tess, I've already done Tess. Yeah, it's not true, Tess. I'm sure you're a fantastic cook, Tess. Prince Philip is Danish Greek. Yeah, Danish and Greek he is. There's a lot of Danish in us as well. Did 23andMe, found out Prince Philip was my 7th cousin. Excellent. Well, here's to the old bastard again then. This is for you, Tracy. More British than Lisa Nandy. Fucking hell. A chicken tikka masala is probably more British than Lisa Nandy. Lass at the M, retired at 96, died at 99. Yeah, grats a grafter, that. Stop for a brew, look forward to watching when I get back to the digs. Rip Phil the Greek, top the bloke. What's his face? Look like one of those classics. What's this? I'll have to read. Maybe that's in the list. I'm a chef in the kitchen and a care. I'm, again, women, ladies, I am definitely not calling British women bad at cooking. We aren't collectivists on this channel, are we? Some are, some aren't. It's the same with almost every stereotype in the world. There is one European royal family, they're all directly descended from each other and wouldn't wipe their ass with any of us. Possibly, again, right, Adam, I'm not a staunch hardcore royal. As I've said, I'm sort of an ambivalent, centrist, milquetoast, fence-sitting, what would you say, a reluctant royalist. In and of itself, the idea and the institution sort of ridiculous. It's sort of ridiculous to put people on a pedestal above everybody else. But on the face of it, if you do what would you call it? A cost-benefit analysis. You've got fucking things like me. You've got basically negatives and positives, obviously, but in the last few days, the way people have all got up together and sort of rallied around Prince Philip, I do feel as if it does serve a purpose. Even if you don't think the Queen's divine, obviously not, I'm not a fucking lunatic, you don't think the Queen's some sort of, goddess, it is something we can all rally behind. And the key to having a sense of patriotism is making everybody feel as if they're sharing a common goal, a common bond. Certainly when I'm also a naturalised American, if any new watchers don't know. It's important and it's good when you feel as if you're part of a community. Patriotism's really good. This is what I try to get across to lefties. I'm a centrist. I've got no time for aggressive flag waving. Oscar Wilde said patriotism is the virtue of the vicious. I don't know that because I love Oscar Wilde. I know that because I watched The Rock when Sean Connery goes, "Army, actually." It's a fucking quality film. Anyway, overt nationalism's not too good. I'm not a fan of massive flag waving. I'm not a fan of course, you shouldn't be like, "I don't like you because you're fucking Spanish and I'm English." Of course not. But good, reasonable, tolerant, sensible nationalism is fine. People, they say it's a dirty word now, again, because continentals can't stop invading people. What's wrong with saying you care about your country? What's wrong with that? I'm not against any other country. I don't want to go into extremism. But I love Great Britain. I love all the people in there, even the annoying ones, even the annoying lefty arseholes. It's a great thing to unify behind a flag, a cause, a group, and feel as if you're it. It's like your neighbours. It's better when you know all your neighbours, like it was when I lived up north, than it is now where I live around a bunch of cunts I don't speak to. That unifying presence of a monarch is a good thing. And ultimately, getting rid of it would replace it with an elected twat like Macron. I'll take the monarchs. I'll take them. Yeah, every now and then you get a terrible one and you've got to tough it out until the arsehole fucks off. But on the grand scale of thing, it's better to have a monarch than not have one. That's what I feel. Even as an American now, right, I feel it is just better than to have an elected head of state. We've got a proper democracy. We've got a parliament. It's a constitutional monarchy. Is spot on. It works. The Queen's a fucking wonderful public servant. We're about where we want to be. That's what I'm saying. I'm not bothered about the royal family, especially not the extended family. I'm not going to collect the fucking plates. I'm not going to go and, chase the car with a handkerchief. I don't care that much. But I'm a reluctant royalist. I'm a conservative. I'll just keep it out. Keep it out how it is. Northern English and Scottish are the same. We aren't really. Scotland's its own thing. And again, nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that at all. You can be Hamish McTavish, only wear a kilt, eat nothing but haggis and drink nothing but Tennant and Iron Brew. You can also be British on the side, can't you? Again, I don't see... We all fought under that flag for fucking 400 years. I don't see the issue. Number two, let's do number two. I'm going off on a tangent talking about the royal family. It looks like the kind of thing my daughter would bring back from her school art lessons, he muttered, whilst being shown Ethiopian art in 1965. So again, pretty funny. Pretty funny. He's basically taking the piss out of your art a little bit. Again, we all do that. BANTS. We all take the piss out of each other. I do a lot of drawing. People sometimes take the piss out of my art. That's fine. It's like, haha, BANTS. Just because the fucker that did it happens to be from Ethiopia doesn't mean he's a virulent racist and he wants to push all the Ethiopians into a fucking oven. If you think otherwise, you're a psycho. You're a psycho. Speak slowly, I can't get your American accent. I can do one if I try. Again, Nicolas Cage lines. I take pleasure in gutting you, boy. There you go. American AF. Number three. I would like to go to Russia very much, although the bastards murders half my family. Fine, yeah. Being a bit foul-mouthed there. Who cares? Let's do some more. 4. What do you gargle with? Pebbles, he told singer Tom Jones at the 1969 Royal Variety Performance. It's a good one. I say whiskey and razor blades. That's not bad. Later he added, it's difficult to see how it's possible to become immensely valuable by singing what are the most hideous songs. So he didn't like Tom Jones. Fuck me. Tom Jones is famous for his gravelly voice. Maybe he quite liked him, but he was just saying, it's impressive that you've got that gravelly voice. How do you do it? Nothing wrong with that. Pretty good BANTS. I'll give that a 6 out of 10 on the BANTS scale. Let's have another one. Number 5. We don't come here for our health. We can think of other ways of enjoying ourselves. He told journalists in Canada. It's fucking quality, yeah. So they were probably like, oh yeah, how good's Canada? You come because you love Canada. He's like, fuck off. Why do I want to wander around this sub-zero wasteland up north? Jesus, I'd rather be off in, Rio de Janeiro, quaffing mojitos and swimming on the beach. Perfectly reasonable, funny. Maybe he was being sarcastic as well. He might have been taking the piss. Who knows? Not a hate crime though, is it? Number 6. You are a woman, aren't you? He said to a Kenyan woman who was presenting him with a small gift. That's fucking quality. Quality. And again, he's taking the piss, right? She probably had some sort of like one of those androgynous native clothing items or something. I don't fucking know. But again, it's just BANTS. And it isn't... What's the big 3 I always say they put together? Racist, sexist, homophobe. It's not neither of them 3. So let's crack on. Number 7. If you stay here much longer, you will all be... See, I'm worried that if I repeat that one, YouTube will ban me. Not racist though, is it? That is observational humour, right? Because here's the thing. Do you think any people who happen to be Asian, British Asian, American Asian, whatever, happen to be of Asian origin, do you think they sit there looking at themselves in a mirror going, they see me with my particularly handsome baby blue eyes, and do you think they look at me and go, he's got beady little eyes, hasn't he? Everybody knows those Asians have got massive, clear, pearly white eyeballs that you can see out of much better than anyone from Europe. They know what they look like. It's as bigoted as saying most Asians have black hair. Right? It's just observational humour. He famously told exchange students who lived in Xi'an in 1986, so it's a joke. It's if you stay here forever, you'll start looking like them. He didn't say, if you stay here forever, you'll become dishonest, lazy, ugly, horrible people and paedophiles, just like everyone from this country. That would be racist. Do you see that? Does everybody see the difference between some basic, totally reasonable, observational humour and some full-blown racism? Because that's the difference right there. If you make fucking comments about people's character and the way they behave, that is racist. A bit of observational humour to a bunch of white kids, or if you stay here for too long, you'll start looking like the locals. That's all that is. So there's another one done. Not in any way particularly offensive, is it? Hello, Toronto. Hello, Toronto. Always nice hearing from the Canucks. Number 8. If it has 4 legs and it's not a chair, if it has 2 wings and flies, but it's not a plane, and if it has swims and it's not a submarine, the Cantonese will eat it. Now, that is so common. I heard the exact same thing when I was in Japan. The Japanese told me that. So that's what? If that's a hate crime, it isn't a hate crime. That's Asian on Asian hate crime, because I heard that exact sentence off a Japanese girl when I was in Japan. Because I said to her, don't you eat insects out here as well? Like, I was, I'd only been there 3 days, and I won a date with some bird who I met, and I was like, don't you fuckers eat insects? And she was like, we're not dirty. And she said, I'm trying to be PC now for some bizarre reason. It's ridiculous. I'm just YouTuber horrendous and just closed you down on a whim. She said, X are dirty. They eat insects. They eat bugs. And I went, all right. Oh. And then she said, we have this saying, and she told me that exact thing. 4 legs, not a chair. No, maybe I think she said a table. 2 wings, flies not a plane, and swims not a submarine. Delete it. Common quip. Everybody in Asia says, yeah, it's a well-known Asian saying. Pretty funny. And when I asked him if he liked China, he said, fucking ghastly. Again, what, you're not allowed to say that? You know, fucking, have you ever been to Middlesbrough? Shithole. Shithole. Doesn't mean I hate what? Am I Anglophobic now? It's ridiculous, right? You just have to get in, logically think of these things. Like I keep telling you, none of it is offensive, let alone big, racist, bigoted or xenophobic. They're just quips that people make. Christ, that's how you bond with people, especially men. You bond by being rude to each other. I guarantee if he said that to a Chinese bloke, he'd fucking laugh. If he said, oh, I heard this when I was in Asia, and told him that story, the Chinese guy'd laugh and say, oh yeah, we'll eat fucking anything. Like that's probably what he'd say. Because that's how men bond. We take the piss out of each other. Look at them again with their shit comments at the end of the sentences as well. Number 9. I don't think a prostitute is more moral than a wife, but they're doing the same thing when dismissing claims those who slaughter for meat have greater moral authority than those who partake in blood sports. Also good, right? I actually like that. I think that's quite a profound thing to say, isn't it? So yeah, it's not a hate crime. It's just a bit of bants from Phil the Greek. Kate, my nephew's dad's from Middlesbrough. It sounds great. If you like seeing dead babies outside Aldi, that's what's great about Middlesbrough. Yeah, if you like seeing, flaming cars, upside down prams, pimps and pushers, yeah, it's sound. What are we on? 10? Whoa, time flies when you're having fun, doesn't it? 10. Oh no, I might catch some ghastly disease when asked if he wanted to pet a koala in Australia in 1992. Fucking hell, this is an absolute outrage. That is an anti-marsupial hate crime. It will not stand. I cannot believe a head of state was so fucking offensive about small, pouched creatures found in only one continent on the planet Earth. What a bastard. I suggest we mobilise Marsupial Action UK and have him dug up, stuffed, and then fucked by a team of koalas. Only that can right this horrific wrong. Yeah, we can line the marsupials up. Yeah, get him. He can get bummed by a koala, a wallaby. What are them little fucking badger-looking things called? Little stocky hard bastards. Anyway, yeah, line them up. They can all have a go. That will erase this horrific wrong against marsupial kind. I didn't know that. Koalas have chlamydia. Fuck it. Well, there you go. The man was wise beyond his years. Although that would be hard because he was old as fuck. But anyway. Number 11. This one, I'm not going to read because, again, YouTube. I will say number 11 is, of this lengthy list, the one that I would possibly say is prejudiced. Because obviously when you say that, you're basically saying everyone who lives here looks the same or behaves the same. Wombats, that's it, the little fat fuckers. I went to Australia and I remember I leaned over the pen in the zoo to pat one. Someone was like, give it a pat, and I was like, ugh, and it was fucking rock hard. It was like patting a table. I was like, fuck. It was like a rock hard badger. Like a badger that if you booted it in the fucking bollocks, it'd just look at you and go, I am Iron Balls the Wombat, and I laugh at your puny human kicks. So yeah, it was a wombat. So yeah, 11. I can't read that one. That's a bit out of order. Again, probably not funny to the locals, but I'm sure he made the British tourists laugh anyway. 13. Quality bants. Any Scotsman in, there's plenty of them. Scots ladies. That's good bants. People think it's funny when you say they drink too much. How do you keep the natives off the booze long enough to pass the driving test? He asked a Scottish driving instructor in 1995. Fucking quality. Everyone knows they drink too much up north. Totally fucking acceptable. Probably offended nobody in Scotland. And as I've told you, I think I heard this off Stuart Lee. So, like I said, I'm pinching it from somewhere. But he said, if Scottish men want to breed, they have to get on a train south, drink lots of strong lager, collapse in a gutter in Newcastle with an erection, and then just hope to pollinate. Just collapse in the gutter with a fatty on, and hopefully a fat southern woman will land on it. This is how the Scottish breed. That's much more offensive than what Philip just said. And he said that at a comedy club in Edinburgh, and everybody pissed themselves laughing. So again, BANTS. Nothing offensive about BANTS, is there? Hang on, I'll just wet my whistle. It annoys people, doesn't it, when they hear me slurp? Hang on, I'll stop my mic a sec. Rock Hard Badger, good band name. That's not terrible, is it? Not terrible. Terry Wookfit, you should know Wombat used to have him in the RM Commandos. Yes, hence the term, this is for all you old boys out there, she bangs like a belt-fed wombat, right? It's like bangs like a barn door in a hurricane. A naval one is bangs like a belt-fed wombat. But doesn't really work with most civilians. They have no idea what you're talking about. All right, AB, how's your mate's neck? That's next weekend, Chris. David Coates, that's a lie. You're my best mate, you are. Yeah, that's Brown Bottle. Charles Belton, being a missing beloved Canada. Don't know what that's about. Winston, got woo and Tracy asked you you're okay. Slurp. You love to hear me slurp. That's a bit creepy and weird. It's fine. It's fine. There's plenty weirder on this channel. Right, I'll do some more. I don't want to be here all fucking night, do I? Where was I? 14. It was past. It was part of the fortunes of war. We didn't have counsellors rushing around every time someone let off a gun, asking, are you all right? Are you sure you don't have a ghastly problem? You just got on with it when asked about stress counselling for soldiers. Fucking bang on. Bang on. There's a time and a place for treating people with PTSD, but emotional mental illnesses are the fucking most overly prescribed problem in modern history. Like people, again, wankers in the chat having a go at me when I'm talking about long COVID and shit like that. They're like, what about PTSD? It's like, yeah, PTSD is a thing. And I've told you guys my opinion about it many times. PTSD is a thing. And now it's become the thing because it is fucking rare. I went to war 5 times. I served with hundreds of people. I never knew any that displayed obvious tendencies of PTSD. I knew one bloke, who I won't name, and he was a bit of a penis, and I felt as if he was using it to get out of the fact, because everyone knew him for years, and he was a fucking jack, lazy bastard. So I felt as if he was using that as an excuse for being a prick. So PTSD is a real thing, but I believe 90% of diagnoses of PTSD are bollocks. Faked. Every prick I know out the military, there's not that many in the Corps, but I know plenty in the Army, everyone who was a fucking knobhead used PTSD for an excuse for shitty behaviour. Being a drunk, beating your missus, wrapping your car around a tree, acting like a cunt. It is overdiagnosed. And I'm a fucking veteran and I'm happy to put my hands up and say so. So these lefty twats in the chat were like, oh yeah, you say people who complain about having a bad back or ME are just swinging the lead so they can get free benefits. Yeah. And I'll say the same for plenty of people with PTSD as well. Every single mental ailment is massively, massively overprescribed. That is a fact. Again, I've read it. Don't know where exactly, in more than one place. I read a story in the New York Times about how a lot of the people claiming it and getting money for it on disability in the States, the Justice Department and the Ministry of Defence and etc. Everyone's discussed how these things get overprescribed. They do. So, hats off to Philip for saying it like it is. He's fucking right. 15. You managed not to get eaten then. The Prince asked a British student who'd been trekking in Papua New Guinea. Also funny. He's not saying every single person who lives there is a fucking cannibal, but probably in the history some of them were, so it's a quip. It's like saying to an Englishman, oh yeah, have you got your crumpets and tea? It's just a stereotype, a quip, it's a comment. It doesn't mean anything. It doesn't mean he hates people from Papua New Guinea. 16. Where's the Southern Comfort? He said on receipt of a basket of Southern goods. Is that supposed to be offensive? It's like a quip you make when someone brings you a fucking present. Like, I want some booze. So that shouldn't even be on there. Don't know who made this list. They must be having a stretch now because they can't find anything good. 17, deaf. If you're near here, no wonder you're deaf, he told a group of deaf school children near a Caribbean steel drum band. Again, doesn't mean he hates people from the Caribbean, doesn't mean he hates drums. Just making a quip. Stood next to a band, dig, 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 over and over for a bit. He's gone, fucking hell, no wonder you're deaf. It's, to use the Americanism, a nothing burger. 18. You could do with losing a little bit of weight, he told 13-year-old Andrew Adams after hearing he wanted to be an astronaut. Good, sensible, sound, reasonable advice. Good for the kid's health, good for his future career prospects. Brilliant. Telling it like it is, that one is bang on. Good life advice, and I hope Andrew Adams took it to heart, because you never see a roly-poly astronaut getting fucking plunged into a rocket, do you? They're trying to, go on, fatty. What are you going to do? Get him a triple XL space suit? It'd cost 5 times as much, wouldn't it? Good advice, Philip. We like that one. 19. Do you still throw... Probably can't say that one. Again, that's not really prejudiced, is it? He's basically saying because in the old days, they used to. So he's making a joke. And I'm sure they didn't find it offensive. They probably went, ha ha ha, funny. Yeah, no, we don't do that anymore. Ha 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 ha, he's funny, him. Yeah, cheers. Not a problem. 20. Who's on drugs here then? He looks as if he's on drugs, he said, of a 14-year-old boy at a youth club. Why do they have to put that in there? Why the B word? Just put at a youth club. He's taking the piss because a lot of young kids take drugs. He's not saying, I think everybody from the fucking country of Bangladesh is a druggie, because they aren't. It's a quip about teenagers. Little bastards that they are, take a lot of drugs. So he's gone, who's on drugs in here then? Funny. Nothing to do with the fact that it's Bangladeshi. It's got to do with the fact that it's young. It's full of young people. 21. Absolutely class BANTS. President of Nigeria was dressed in traditional robes and he said, you look like you're ready for bed. I guarantee the President of Nigeria laughed. That is fucking quality BANTS. So top draw, Philip. I love it. Is it a strip club? When meeting a female sea cadet who told the prince she worked in the nightclub. Class BANTS. Sounds like something my granddad would say. Again, not a hate crime. 23. That's a nice tie. Do you have any knickers in that material? That's quality. Borderline, maybe, if you're a real prude. If that was like Claire Fox or some militant man-hating misandrist, maybe that's a little bit sexist, but again, not the end of the world. Not the type of thing you get arrested for, is it? Or it shouldn't be. 24. The Philippines must be half empty. You're all here running the NHS. Well, maybe he's saluting their service. Maybe he's saying, you know what, we'd be in real trouble if you girls hadn't come over and done all this hard work. Well done to you. Maybe that. Anyone think of that? Oh, you've got a perceived interest that they're all scum. Is that what it is? You just have to look at everything negatively. Why don't you look at it positively? Why don't you be a glass half full type of chap like me? He was saluting the hard-working Filipino nurses who keep the NHS running. That's his words, not mine. You're all running the NHS. Well done, ladies. You're all grafters. Cheers easy. Well done, Philip. What a splendid fellow. And last, but by no means least, 25. Just take the fucking picture. I think we can all agree with the sentiment there. If we've ever been pissed about by one of these artsy-fartsy, I think I'm a clever bastard because I've got a good camera wankers. Speaking as someone who draws and can actually draw and paint, I get annoyed with camera twats. Some of them think they're fucking Picasso. Like, it's the camera in it. If you've got a $2,000 camera, you can take fucking good pictures. There's a lot of camera twats. Again, not everyone, but there's a lot of camera twats who act like the fucking, you know, some sort of visionary genius of the arts. Yeah, Van Gogh was a fucking genius. A twat with an expensive camera who fucks about for hours to get a photo is just a twat with a camera. Nowhere near on the same level. When you make art from nothing, you've got a blank canvas, totally blank, nothing on it. You just fill it with your imagination, filling the void. Camera twat, you're just taking fucking pictures of shit that's already there. Give God some credit, right? God made that nice little ocean view with a kingfisher diving down to get a fucking salmon. Thank God for making the kingfisher's plumage so glorious. Don't be talking about fucking you're an artistic genius because you've got an expensive camera. And I know that makes me sound like a barbarian, so I will call it there. I'm meeting some friends of mine for a game very soon. So I'll bugger off. Everybody, thanks for listening. I will end on a somber note and say, Prince Philip, whether you're a royalist or no, he was a pensioner, he was an old man. He sacrificed a lot. He didn't have his own career. He obviously had ambitions of his own, and he stopped chasing the dreams to be the consort of the Queen. He was a good husband. He was a good father. He didn't run around the town. He wasn't done for shagging prozzies. He was a good husband, a supportive husband, and a decent man. He was a World War II veteran. He served his country with distinction. He never grumbled about it, and he fucking got on with it. This is to celebrate a life long lived with some epic bants. Well done to him. So, Prince Philip, I salute you for what it's worth. Captain General, I'll see you at the reorg. Thanks for the bants, and thanks for listening. Cheers, lads. I'll see you all tomorrow for the BBC Spews. Like it, share it, thumbs up, etc., etc., and